and a lot of Chinese there as well. Actually, 1% of the island, by the time I left, 1% of the island of Ireland was Chinese.
Wow.
But, no, in my experience, it's always been fascinating that, one, the U.S. is regarded internationally as treating minorities poorly.
Yeah. And
two, the U.S. treats minorities vastly better than any other place I've lived.
Yeah.
We have I have a friend who I think you're going to meet soon, who's a guy of Korean ancestry from Japan, and his family had been in Japan for generations, but because he's of Korean ancestry, the no citizenship, certain places he's just not allowed to go. I mean, it's just stuff that is just not even imaginable in the context of the current United States.
Yeah.
So and yet the United States is hit with that stick of racism internationally all the time. It's just fascinating. It's really fascinating. They've like fetishized the African American experience abroad, and see it as evidence of pandemic racism in the U.S., but are totally blind to how vastly worse they are.
I'm struck by Europeans who email me or come into the chat room who just hate Americans.
Oh.
Because I didn't know Americans who hate it, just instinctively hate Europeans.
Well, yeah.
There's a strong anti-American sentiment in Europe.
Very strong.
There's nothing equivalent in the United States.
Well, I have to admit that in the time that I spent in Europe, I didn't go over there. I mean, I didn't go over to Europe flag-waving Yankee.
Right.
But the anti-American sentiment that I encountered so regularly kind of turned me into, I always say I didn't know how much of a Yankee I was until I lived abroad.
Yeah.
And I have kind of, as much as I liked Ireland and liked the people that I met generally, I did still come home with a kind of, there's a prejudice in me toward Europeans specifically because of that anti-American thing.
Yeah.
I just found it so insufferable.
Like, it would never occur to me if all I knew about someone was that they were European, was to regard, they must be an idiot or uneducated, or like in America we don't make these assumptions about people based on their land of origin or where they live, or race or religion.
We don't, and it seemed to me that, I mean, Europe had been such a class-riven continent for so long, and also they always for half a millennium they had the colonies to look down on as kind of mud people, which they did. It seemed like a lot of that natural condescension and sense of superiority has been shifted to the they projected a lot of that towards the United States.
Yeah.
And it's really, with no people with really no insight whatsoever into how things are in the United States, or they've created this kind of self-serving fantasy of this inferior culture that to which Europe is, and it's really tiresome. And the hypocrisy, my God, just an example of talking about the racism. The French, while I was over there, French people would say, there is no race in France. Race is an American idea.
Right.
It's we don't even have this concept. It's a racist American concept. And yet, in French, there's an expression that someone speaks like a petit nigre. Literally, he speaks like a little nigger. Okay, and the expression means like, and the first time I've heard it several times, but when a French person tells it to me, no, it's not racist. It just means he speaks like a small child or so. And I'm like that. Okay, that you say that race doesn't exist in France. That is racist. No, it's not racist. We don't even have race. And it's fascinating, just the obliviousness to their own cultural shortcomings and their obsession with perceived American cultural shortcomings.
Right.
I really came to dislike it.
Yeah, like as Americans we're taught, you don't make assumptions about people based on their religion, race, country of origin, or where they live.
Right.
We don't treat people badly
Right.
You know, because of that. But it's an instinctive reaction in much of Europe. I mean, particularly towards Jews, or towards Muslims, or towards minorities.
Yeah, towards other groups, towards groups in general.
Yeah.
There's a
hatred,
and a much more casual racism
Yeah.
over there is like
just taking
whether
it
or
for
not they
granted.
believe they have a concept of race or
Yeah.
not. Casual kind of ordinary conversational racism over there is just off the charts for someone coming from American background. I remember meeting one of my the mother of one of my close friends there who was Irish, and she was a university professor, very progressive politically. And she said, and when she first met me, she said, "Oh, I forget exactly how it was, but it was like I thought you would be short and oily." Like, and it was just kind of ha ha ha. But it was so just, it was just a remark, just an offhand remark. It was, and it's
You're big and oily, Joey.
What?
You're big and oily.
Yeah.
You're not short
I'm big
and
and
oily.
oily. That's right, big and oily. But it's just, yeah. There's a class. There's a much stronger tendency there to generalize about groups. But and as I said, it's combined with this sense, this fetish of the United States as a racist culture.
Right.
It's fascinating. I found it infuriating.
Right.
Infuriating.
So, where do you get your values from, Joey? How do you know what's right and wrong?
These days, I really don't know. My worldview has been shaken pretty badly in the last year and a half, I think. I used to feel pretty good about my own internal moral compass,
Yeah.
and it was
That was before you strangled that hooker.
yeah. Boy, that really shook things up for me.
Cocaine-induced
Yeah.
frenzy.
I don't know. Part of me still thinks she deserved it, but I don't know. Look, in a nod to Christianity, the golden rule always seemed pretty legit to me, and we have our own version. The Hillel said, don't do.
Don't do unto the others that which is hateful to you.
Right. And I mean, but actually, a lot of my general sense of right and wrong did come from growing up, from education I got as a young Jewish guy, from my grandparents and stuff. There's this constant inculcation with the idea that a big part of our role in this world is to make the world a better place. This tikkun olam sentiment, which is strong, even though it's annoying that it's often misrepresented as the essence and what Judaism is all about. But it is, at least I did get a lot of that type of thinking. So that's strong, and the sense of the Holocaust and the good people doing nothing and that sort of thing. That's all in there, percolating in my head as I make, random moral decisions and accidentally strangle a hooker or two.
We all make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah,
Joey.
I try not to. It's just a hooker anyway.
So we've got an ex-porn star in the chat room. We've got Chrissy Moran, who's very cute. Let me see if I can find you a quick picture. She wants to know what the golden rule is in Christianity. So it's do unto others as you would like them to do unto you.
Yeah, it's do unto others as you'd have done to you.
There's Chrissy.
Hello, Chrissy. Lovely, lovely woman.
Don't you love that yellow bathing suit?
Yeah, it's a wonderful bathing suit, but
And
she has
nice
a lovely
necklaces
face.
too. Yeah, lovely face.
I'm a face guy.
And she's actually quite smart because she's typing in our chat room. So
yeah.
She's got a brain
She's
too.
got a brain too.
She's not
I
just-
met I have a friend of mine who's friends with a woman named Sasha Grey, who's an adult.
Oh, yeah.
So we had hung out with her in Las Vegas recently. She is smart as a whip, man. So, boy, don't make any assumptions about the intelligence of female.
Based on what they do for a living.
Yeah, but so that's the golden rule is the Christian iteration, which is do unto others as you would have done unto you, whereas the Jewish one is don't do unto others as would be hateful to you.